Hi everyone. Welcome to tonight's NSA Connects session, stuttering on and off the field, leading as an athletic coach with a stutter. We're really excited tonight to bring a very unique and different topic to the fore tonight. We've never actually discussed this during an NSA Connect session, so we're really excited to have two coaches, athletic directors with us tonight that are going to share their experiences. Real quick, let me go over our ground rules for tonight. We're going to ask everybody to please keep your microphones muted unless you have a question, and we're going to talk about how we're going to handle questions in just a bit. But when it comes time to ask a question, you can do it either the traditional way of raising your hand physically, or you can use the icon down on the toolbar, the raise hand function, and you just click on that, and a hand appears, and then you can also click on that again to lower the hand. We are going to have ample time for questions and audience and participant feedback. And the session is being recorded as well tonight for those that may want to view it at a later time. And also we're making it available for those unable to join us tonight. So I forgot to actually introduce myself. I'm Pam Mertz, representing the NSA tonight. And I'm really happy to be able to bring these two wonderful facilitators tonight. So I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves. And Derek, why don't we start with you?
All right. Hey guys, my name is Derek Sutor. I am in a suburb of Chicago, and I am a high school coach. I've been a high school coach now. This is going to be season number 20 for me. Primarily, I coach high school baseball. It's my true love, but I've also been a coach of wrestling, football, but if I had to pick a sport, it's baseball. I eat, sleep, and breathe it. And happy to be here tonight. Grateful for the NSA to put this on, give us the opportunity to come together and just talk about. I hope that the experiences that I have and I can kind of tell my story tonight can help you in some way, shape, or form. Talking about the good and the bad, the hard, the easy, and just kind of talk about my experiences. So, looking forward to tonight, and I'm gonna pass it over to my co-host Rob, and he can introduce himself here.
All right. Yep. All right, guys. Thank you very much, Derek. Yes. First of all, I just kind of want to fall back on it too. I just want to thank the NSA and I want to thank Pam as well for setting this up. I think I wish as a young person I had something like this. I never really had any role models, or I should say role models, people that really stuttered or it did anything. A little bit about I'm in a suburb just north of Grand Rapids, Michigan. We currently have about 28 inches of snow. It's like zero here. I haven't worked all week except for, no, I worked on Wednesday. I just got a text. We're off tomorrow. But anyways, I always knew as a young age that I wanted to be involved in sports. I was an athlete. We received a scholarship to run track, and then at school in Indiana. And then when I got done there, I came to school up here in Michigan. And then my second year, I started coaching. So I started coaching real young. My main goal was I wanted to just be uh, a basketball coach, and I did that. And then I coached some track and field as well. And then I just got into football, and I'm going on year 35. I just fell in love with the old cliche of Friday night lights. I just love the whole chess match of the game. Hero of mine, I just never thought I could do this, but my father was a very inspiration to me as far as really push yourself back. But coaching career in football started out okay. And then I ended up was at a school that didn't work out so well. End up landing at a school that won six state championships in 19 years, five in a row, which was kind of cool. We had one of our state championship games was in five overtimes, so that was kind of cool. But I just want to follow up. But with Derek said, I just if we could just if we could help somebody or anybody wants to, anybody that might have a son or you want to go to or a a son or a daughter, anybody interested in coaching, or education. My other job in education, the middle school dean of students. But basically, it's a fancy name for assistant principal, and basically the guy that everybody hates because I do all the discipline. And yeah, I'm also the middle school athletic director too, which is good. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I've been at this a long time. I think sports is I mean, kind of biased here. I think it's a really good thing that brings people together. And I can tell you guys a couple tricks that I use down the road as we open up in the question and answer thing, if we're gonna do it in a minute. But yeah, I'm sure I left out some things that might just might come up. My basically my coaching role. I've had all roles pretty much. I was a defense coordinator. Currently I've been a defensive line coach. Two of my blocks guys are D's, and I'm a defensive line coach and a dean of students, so that makes life fun. But anyways, yeah, so I've been a varsity defensive line coach for 20 26 years. Some other things I've done, I've worked Michael Jordan's basketball camp, which was pretty cool. Actually got a picture. And so yeah, I'm kind of saying a little. I never actually taught. I did. I worked in business, but always coached. And then a school job opened up as like a security guard, and I kind of worked my way up to be a, uh, a dean of students. But my whole theory on this though is coaching is teaching. So I teach football. I teach. I'm also the middle school basketball coach for the girls. But yeah, I'll kind of stop and we'll just kind of, if anybody next way, if we could do it, if anybody has any questions for Derek and myself, anything. I mean, we both just want to kind of see if we can what you guys have for us and
Yeah.
answer and help anybody out.
Yeah. Before that, I'm gonna kind of give a history on like my story and like how I kind of got into the coaching world and um basically long story short, I grew up the son of a high school baseball coach. My dad was a big guy, 6'5", 250. Had a tryout for the Oakland Raiders, and he got invited to their preseason, and he ended up getting cut. And so then he said, okay, well, I'm going to get a job in a high school. And he got a job at a high school. And the third day he started, he got a call from the Chicago Bears asking him to come to a tryout, and he actually turned him down. He said, I have a job, happy in a school. And that's kind of how that whole thing started. So he got into coaching. He started coaching his first year. He was the varsity head coach of a high school. He was also the head dean of students. And something that I didn't actually find out until I got older was that he had a stutter. He had a small one. He had a very small one, not as profound, but he had a stutter. And so that's kind of how I grew up. I mean, I kind of grew up on his baseball field. I would head to his practices and all that, and that's kind of how I fell in love with sports. But as somebody who stutters, I mean, most of us could probably understand that school was probably the hardest time for us. I mean, having to speak in school, having to find friends. I mean, stuttering in school was hard. And my outlet growing up was sports. And I found that as I played sports, like anytime that I was around friends or teammates, I didn't think about how I spoke. I only cared about how I played. So sports was kind of my outlet. So growing up around my dad and his teams and seeing the impact that he had on kids, a school, a town, a team, I knew from a pretty early age that coaching was in my blood, and that's the thing that I was going to do. Both of my parents were high school teachers, and I saw that they got summers off, and I'm like, that sounds excellent. So yes. Um, so I played sports all throughout high school. I played some in junior college, and then I hit the end of the road and I got a job at a high school. I got a job. I teach special ed. And I know that that's kind of the perfect calling for me because I've gotten help since I was a kid. I've gotten help since I was a kid, and I understand how much that help helps. So if I can head into the schools and if I can help students who have so much on their plate, that's the ultimate high. And so then being a teacher, special ed, gave me the in to start coaching. So I started coaching in 2006. I actually I was a freshman and sophomore coach on my dad's staff, which for which for me was a dream come true because growing up that's kind of how I saw myself. Father and son coaching duo. I always saw coaching on his staff, and I have a funny story that I'll tell in a second how that's kind of come full circle. So I started coaching on his freshman and sophomore teams, and I was a freshman and sophomore assistant. And at the time, that's when I started becoming more confident in my speech, because I took something that I had a true passion for, baseball, and I understood that if I had these goals and dreams to help and be a coach, that I was going to have to talk. I was going to have to lead. Um, Being a freshman and sophomore coach, you don't have to talk as much. You have more conversations with students and players on the side. You're more building relationships on the side. Whereas the head coach is kind of the one who does most of the talking, calls the shots, does that. So being a freshman and sophomore assistant coach was the perfect starting point for me, because and the and the thing that I started to find out is that even if I had a hard day speaking, players, they didn't pay attention to my speech. They paid attention to the things that I was trying to teach them. They were more concerned about the how I was teaching them hitting, fielding, things like that. And I think for us as stutterers, I think that's sometimes we're almost our own worst enemy, because we think that there's a spotlight on us at all times. And we think that if we stutter, it's this huge grand thing, when in the scheme of things, players, students, people, they understand that we're also human and we are who we are, and they're more concerned in how we're going to help them. So long story short, I was a freshman assistant, I was a sophomore assistant, I was a varsity assistant for 10 years. And then in season number 11, I had the opportunity to become a head coach, and I got the spot as a head sophomore coach. So here now, I've had 10 seasons of experience and talking to kids, talking to players. Now, also during this whole time, I'm a special ed teacher, so I've had all this experience also in the classroom, and all this experience has given me confidence and understanding that I'm always going to be a stutterer. I'm going to have my good days, I'm going to have my bad days, but the thing that I did, and I kind of took over as a head coach, is I became more transparent. And from the first day, I said, I have a stutter and I am who I am. And some days I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be up here talking to you guys. I'm going to be fluent. And some days it's going to be hard. And some days I'm going to struggle. But the thing that I quickly found is that these kids, I think they appreciated that I was not talking to them, or that I was not talking to them or at them. I was talking with them, and say, hey, I'm human. I have flaws. I have a story, and I have to battle adversity. And that's what sports, I mean, that's the awesome thing about sports. Sports is all about dealing with adversity and just keep showing up. And having a team behind you is so powerful. And I mean, having a team outside of sports, having your family, having a team in sports, having your players, having a coaching staff, that's so powerful. So I think from the first day, telling these kids who are out there to trust you that, hey, I am who I am. I stutter. Some days I'm going to be fluent. Some days I'm going to struggle. I'm going to block on my sound, but that's who I am. They understood that. And I've had extremely positive experiences in coaching, I think, because I've been so real. And just to kind of fast forward here, 3 years ago, I got the opportunity to take over as a head varsity coach. So I'm the head of a whole program now. And this is kind of a dream come true for me, because this is kind of all I've wanted to do, was kind of follow in the footsteps of my dad. And I'm the head of a program. I have a staff. I have to handle everything. And so the responsibility to be the guy and to be such a strong communicator, you think sometimes that is a lot of pressure. But as I've kind of gone on in my career, I think the thing that I've done so well is that I've been so upfront with my players and staff that I stutter, I am who I am, and I've had the most caring players because they understand that all of us have a story, all of us have adversity, and if I'm talking with them instead of talking at them, then I have more buy-in from them, and it's fun. The only final thing I'm going to add is I'm going to kind of tie in that thing about my dad. I had a dream to coach on the same staff as my dad. I had all these dreams growing up of us two winning state titles and celebrating on the field as father and son. Well, in 2017, when I was just kind of starting out as a sophomore head coach, I didn't have a assistant, and I was hanging out at his house one night, and just for fun, I said, "Hey, Dad, how about in the springtime you come coach with me?" Now, this is 2017. He had retired in 2010. So I thought, he's happy on his own at home. He's got 3 Harleys. I mean, that's kind of his thing. He kind of stared at me for a second, kind of stared off into space, and he said, "Okay, I'm in." So for the last 8 seasons, my dad has been my assistant coach. It's the most special thing that I could ask for, is that father and son time, because it's something that I know that does not happen to everybody. But I get to live a dream coaching baseball and helping others. So, hi, Hannah. That's kind of my story. And as Rob said, this is kind of our opportunity to kind of give back. He and I have kind of told our stories, and I mean, Rob's spot, where he's a coach of multiple sports, and he is also a athletic director, so he's got a lot on his plate. I mean, the truth is that I could pick his brain for hours, but hopefully, if there's a question, if there's something that you guys have to ask. If there's an experience that you've had, if you're trying to get into coaching, Rob and I are happy to take all sorts of questions about how to help out. So we'll kind of open the floor.
Rob, do you want to add anything else while people maybe are thinking of questions?
Maybe little bit thing I want to touch a little bit what Derek said too. I mean, the confidence is huge. I mean, you know, there's days, and I'm sure Derek, you can relate to this, where I can't get a word out, but if I have to make a halftime adjustment and you give me a marker, it's coming out, and I'm flowing, and we're getting after it, and you know things are, you know, we're rolling. I think confidence is huge. Because I'm confident that I know what I want to say, I'm going to say it, and no matter what happens, it's coming out because this has got to get done. One trick that really works for me, you know, and it can pertain to anything for me, it's a volume. You know, they say that you don't really stutter when you sing. Well, when I'm loud, if I'm doing a drill, if I'm giving a talk, if I'm doing something, if I get louder, it tends to, you know, I'm doing it right now. It tends to flow to, you know, a lot better. But, you know, like you said, confidence is, it's, it's huge. You know, I met up with Chris Zoris one time. I don't know if anybody of you guys know him. He played for Notre Dame. He played for the Bears. Well, he stutters, and I hooked up with him one time on Twitter. And he told me, he said, you know, we're just kind of going back and forth. And he said, as soon as he became confident in himself, his stutter, it didn't go away, but his fluency improved. I think that's a lot of it. And, you know, as Derek said, we both wanted to from a very young age, coach, and we weren't going to let this hold us back. I mean, I wasn't, and, you know, he wasn't obviously too, because he followed in his father's footsteps. So I think that's one thing. I mean, and you know, and as we all know, we have good days and we have bad days. You know, there's those times, and people, they still think, you know, you're nervous, you're that. No, I mean, it's just, but yeah, that's pretty much what I want to say. I want to just give the people here, if they have any questions for us too, I want to give them an opportunity to,
Mhm.
you know, then we can kind of elaborate. I think between the two of us, we've brought, you know, we've got what, 54 years of experience. I unfortunately have 34 going 35, but still, it's so yeah. If anybody has anything for us, I mean, about anything, any talking with kids, maybe talking, you know, parent issues are always fun.
Yeah.
Okay, playing time. Anyway,
Well, I'll start. Have you ever had parents who were like critical of the fact that you stutter and maybe thought like, what the heck is this guy doing, you know, leading, you know, and like he can't even talk? Like, have you ever experienced that?
um, with me, as far as in coaching, not necessarily, but in my day-to-day job, you know, when I have to call, like if when I catch a kid in the bathroom vaping, or I catch a kid who told off a teacher, I get, you know, a lot of times, you know, how come when you call me all the time, you're always real nervous, and you know, just that. But I wouldn't really say so much in coaching. I've never really disclosed it to my players like Derek did. I finally have been coming out more in the last couple of years, going into the NSA conferences. I've been kind of doing a little bit more of that, but I've never really had a parent come after me in coaching. I've had them come at me with my normal job. I've had kids make big comments here and there, but it was, but, didn't know. They're just kids. That was all that was. But
Yeah, I think that like um I haven't had any issues with parents or families on how I speak because I think they truly understand that at the end of the day, we're trying to do what's best for kids, even if they don't always agree with us on like playing time and things like that, because that is a extremely sensitive subject. But
right.
I always try early on. I always have a couple parent meetings, and I very early in the season, I kind of have out all my expectations, and I kind of talk about our program standards and our things like that. And first thing I say is like that, you know, I try to tell people that, I coach baseball, but the truth is that I coach life skills through the greatest game on earth. And I try to teach these boys how to be good people because at the end of the day, we all have a story. We all have something that we got to handle. And I think parents understand that I'm not, that I'm human and that I'm trying to teach their son life skills. And I think being transparent about my own struggles has actually helped because you kind of talk about social emotional health. That's come around huge in the past 3 to 5 school years. It's huge now. And I've been extremely upfront about, I struggle with anxiety. I've had bouts of depression. Students are blown that I've actually flunked out of college as a freshman. That's a whole story in itself. I was a college flunk out as a freshman in college because I was off at college on my own for the first time. And I let my anxiety and my um, stutter just control me. And I became a hermit in my dorm room. I skipped classes and I kind of fell into a really dark place. Um, and and over time, I had to get help. I had to get out of that, and like I tell my students, I tell my players, I've gone from being a college flunk out to being a head varsity baseball coach who's got 2 master's degrees. Um,
Good for
and
you.
and I'm up front and I said it's hard. I mean it was tough, but I always say as hard as things are, if it's a stutter, if you have anxiety, if you've got something, you've got a team. And that's why I love being a coach because I get to give back. And so having a team behind you, if that's teammates, if that's family or friends, having that team that you can kind of um, get behind each other, there's nothing more powerful than that. And that's why I love being a coach. Um, that's why that's why, to be honest, having the opportunity to come on this call, um, I, I've been so excited to hop on here to talk with this group. And truth is, I was just telling Rob and Pam that I didn't care if there was 100 people here or 3. I mean, if Rob and I can have a impact on somebody, then it's totally worth it.
Yep. Agree.
So, any
Does
other
anybody have
questions?
anything?
I mean, man, like thinking about coaching, is there somebody here who's trying to get into it? Is there somebody who's in it who just started out who is having a hard time with some situations? Ask away.
Or somebody who you used to coach, or
Yeah.
Yes, I have been very interested listening to Tarek's story because I say a lot of similarities with me. My parents are the they were they were both high school coaches and teachers. Um, so I grew up going to my dad's football practices after school and have always been um have always been interested in coaching and I've done just a few. I'm I'm trying to get into coaching a little bit more, but it's been a struggle for me just in terms just in terms of communicating with other kids and just trying to get them to listen to me and to respect me. But I like your point when you said that they care more about what you are teaching them as opposed to how how you are saying it. So I thought that was a very good point.
hey, Mark,
For
if I
sure.
can just follow up on that too, it's you'll saying, in coaching is they're gonna like more that you care about them. Okay, the more you care about them, okay, the better it's gonna be. It doesn't matter what you say. They don't care about what you say, but it's what you say. It's if you care about them as a person, and I think you've got that. You have that. I have a sign here that I have in my office. If you guys can see this, I don't know if you guys can see it. Okay, it's just basically a good coach can change a game, and a great coach can change a life. Okay, if they know how much that you care about them, they don't care how much you know, how you talk. They want to know how much you care about them, and you can show that you've obviously have had tremendous role models from your parents. My advice to you would be to keep doing it because they're not going to care. They're going to care more that you care about them than about. I mean, we all have our flaws. The kids all have their flaws. I just encourage you to just if that's what you want to do, just keep on doing it, buddy. Okay, I think you can. Okay, they don't want to know, how much you really know. They want to know how much you care about them. Okay, that's the biggest thing, and kudos to you, and to keep rolling. If you want to do it, do it.
Yep.
Okay. Mm.
Yeah. As a coach and as a teacher, I mean, there's this old quote, and I'm positive all of us have heard it. I mean, they'll forget what you say, but they aren't going to forget how you made them feel. And that's so true. That's why every morning I go to school, I've got the biggest smile on my face. I go and have an absolute blast in school. I'm loud. I'm, I mean, I'm a, I'm a 23-year-old stuck in a 43-year-old body. I have fun. I smile. The same thing is at practices. I go to practices with a smile on my face because smiles, energies, and attitudes are contagious. And kids know if you're real, and they're not stupid. And I echo Robb. If I mean, heading there and putting the time in, making the people feel good, that's what coaching is all about. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if you've got the heart, if you've got the passion, go for it.
Mm.
Keep doing. Just keep doing.
For your advice. Mm.
We're doing.
Yeah.
You'll do great. You'll do great.
All right. Is there anything else? Any other things that you guys want to ask about? Now, if you guys also have questions about school, all right. I know, like, are there questions about how we got into coaching school wise? What kind of things that did you have to go to school for? I mean, anything.
I have a question there. And so my name is not Mosaic. That's the name of my school, and I'm on my work laptop. My name is Alex, and I am from Canada. I live in Nova Scotia. I work as a teacher in a high school. I've been coaching basketball for about 10 years, and I'm the athletic director at my school as well. And
Cool.
I hide it, but I am a person that stutters. I also teach and coach in a second language, which adds a whole other layer and makes it even worse, really. Yeah, I guess my question is, you guys talk so much about confidence, and I think that as coaches, there is certainly this pressure that, a coach and a teacher, like they are somebody that's always going to express themselves very clearly, and when you don't necessarily fit into that category, and when you meet somebody and you can't say your name, I sometimes have a hard time keeping my confidence high. And you guys have so much experience, and I'm at a point in my career where I'm starting to gain my confidence a lot, but I would say that's more so thanks to just mastering or having a lot of knowledge about what I'm talking about. But I guess my question is, there's so much that I would like to touch on here, because you guys, everything that you talk about, I can relate to so much. But the question that I did come up with is, how do you keep your confidence high instead, like besides just being a master of the sport and being an amazing coach? What else could you do for your confidence when you have those times when you meet another coach and you have that anxiety of, oh, now I have to say my name, or if you meet a parent and you want to talk about how Jimmy had a really good game, but you're not going to be able to get it out in times like that? How do you keep your confidence high? Do you force yourself through it? Are there other things that you do resort to? Anything that you could say about that would be really appreciated.
Yeah. Well, for me, it varies. Yeah, there's days that yeah, you force yourself through it. being on a football staff, sometimes our staff can be between 9 to 11 guys on staff. And there's a lot of days at the end of practice where the head coach will say, "Okay, I want to hear from every coach how the practice went." You know, he might be in a bad mood. He doesn't want to talk. Well, of course, the anxiety goes up, you know, because now it's on you. And um, yeah, I've gotten through it. Have there been times when I've struggled? Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I'm not silly to not know that there's probably been some slickering going on because I haven't really been open about it. But I think for me, it's I I can just go back to I I wasn't gonna hold I wasn't gonna hold this thing that I have that I do back from something that I really wanted to do forever and have had success, have won state championships, been nominated to Hall of Fame and stuff. I'm not saying it to brag. I'm just saying that it just got me there, but I didn't want to have this thing hold me back from what I wanted to do. And so yeah, you just you fight through it. I've become pretty good friends with Oklahoma State softball coach. He's got a stutter and and he and I talked one day and he says, "Rob, it's a stupid stutter. Who cares?" And I thought, well, he kind of hit me in the face with that. I said, "You're right." He goes, "It's a stupid stutter." And when he said it to me, I'm like, yeah. And so, yeah, I've gone through it. But have there been like banquets and some stuff that I've maybe didn't go to, and begin my career there? Yeah, because I didn't want to speak. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. Um, the press, I've had to talk to the press a few times. That's a little, that's not always fun, but you just get through it. But again, I wasn't going to let this hold me back from what I wanted to do. I didn't want my stutter to define me. Okay, as far as a coach, I wanted to be known as somebody that would. And kids are, like I said, do kids make fun of us when they're out with their buddies and stuff? Yeah, probably, but they could be making fun of us in a good way. I've always said, out of all the staff, they'll probably remember me. Yeah, we had heard he was the guy that had that little speech issue, but yeah, we kind of liked him. I mean, they probably remember me more than the other guy. But no, kudos to you too, because you sound like you got your hands full. But good. I'll let Derek go. Go ahead, Derek. Sorry.
No. That was excellent. No, you know, I don't have as much experience as Rob. I mean, but still, like I'm in season 20, and I don't think it ever is easy. And I mean, each year, I, it, I just get more and more comfortable with that. And I mean, I know that sometimes I'm going to be on the spot if I have to talk to a reporter, if I need to talk to a parent, if I need to talk to an ump. And, usually for somebody who stutters, like being thrown on the spot, that's hard to do. It's hard. I mean, I also have a hard time saying my first name because it starts with a hard sound. And those are hard for me. So I get called Eric a whole lot, and that's okay. But just, I mean, I understand that even though I'm in season 20, I know that this is constantly going to be something that I have to get better at as a person. Not better at, but like I love who I am and the spot I'm in and the things that I get to do. I am 100% comfortable that I'm a stutterer and I am who I am. And there are going to be some days where I have to give a speech, I have to give a presentation. In 2024, our team won the summer state title. So I was awarded the summer coach of the year, and I had to give a speech at the state clinic. And and usually hearing that would freak me out. But man, I was calm and I strolled up there in front of 700, 800 people and
Wow.
I stuttered. And I mean, I had blocks and I stuttered here and there, but I had a smile on my face the whole time because I'm coaching. And so I guess I don't know if that's a help, but I mean, it's always going to be there. But if you truly, I mean, as Rob said, I mean, he and I are in the spots that we dreamed of. So if we stutter, oh well, it's a stupid stutter. So
It's so awesome to hear, guys. That's and it seems like you both have so much experience, but then you also have your own unique experiences. And hearing you, Derek, you were just so open with all of your kids, and you just teach them so much empathy and teach them about life and how everything is. Nobody is perfect, and I strive to be more like that. I've only been open about my stutter in the past year or so. And this does kind of bring me to my next question, because I sort of mentioned it earlier, where I hide it well, and a part of me is like, okay, that is a strategy, but a part of me wants to be more open to like you had mentioned, to show kids that people are not perfect, nobody is perfect, and that is okay. And there's especially for boys, there tends to be this pressure that boys they can't have any weaknesses, and they need to be strong and perfect and all this. So I guess my question is, do you have any sort of strategies that you have to try to hide it, or do you just fully accept it? This is who I am. I know, Rob, before that I'm meeting you here now, I actually listened to one of your podcasts, and I didn't realize it, but when I talk loud as well, that is because I've always questioned how I can't be so fluent. Right now I'm talking louder in my living room.
Yep.
When I talk during a timeout in a basketball game, I speak louder, and I don't really stutter that much. But once again, to talk to another coach of a team that I don't know, or to talk to some parents that I haven't met before, it's very challenging. So without even knowing it, I have had these strategies. I saw the one that you mentioned about the whistle as well, and I actually tried that one, but it didn't work out as well for me. But yeah, so just the question of, once again, I don't think we should hide these things, but I think that we sort of have been taught to hide it. So do you find yourself in these situations, or is it 100% acceptance?
Well, what's helped me is, and I'll be honest, is becoming more involved in the NSA. It's really helped me really open up, and it's taken me 40 some years. But yeah, I mean, now I wear the wristband. I have to my office here. You stuttered, you're not alone. Last year I went to the NSA, and Mitch was there from Survivor, and he's a coach. So he and I got talking. He coaches tennis, but it was really odd because I met him the first day that I was there, and I got a picture with him, and I turned my badge around because I was like embarrassed. I've really worked through that. I'm starting to disclose more now, with people, and, the one thing that I did, I was on a podcast last, summer on Stutter. So, well, when that came out, I sent that to about 50 people that I know. I had all my brothers. I got four older brothers. I had all them put it on their Facebook page. It was my way of just coming out. I'll be honest with you, and it really has helped me because we all want to hide it, But getting back to the whistle thing, if I do this, it it keeps my tongue down, so my tongue's not going, crazy. Because every time I go to the dentist, I always go, "Man, you got a strong tongue." Well, yeah, because I've been doing this for 40 years, and so yeah, you probably heard me talk about that, but yeah, I really need to work on more. I mean, Derek, I commend you because I don't tell my players like I should, and that's one thing that I've been trying to do. I also want to commend Derek too because I mean and I might be calling you. I got nominated for the Michigan Football Coaches Association Hall of Fame last summer. It's just a pool. I don't know when I'll be in it, but when I got the nomination, the first thing I thought was,
You gotta
I
give
got to
a
give a
speech.
speech. I couldn't enjoy it. I couldn't say, doggone it. The very first thing when I got the letter was, I got to give I won't cuss in there. I got to give a speech. And I was like, why? That's so sad. I'm like, Derek, I'm going to go through like you. I'm just going to smile the whole time. That's amazing. I liked hearing that story because I'll be calling you when if it ever comes to us, you got to do that. But yeah, go ahead.
Like, no. So like I kind of have a similar story. In 2019, I was honored, or I was nominated for our county's high school teacher of the year. And I thought, whoa,
Congratulations.
well, thank you. And so in the springtime, I had to go to the banquet, and there were 6 other nominees across 23 high schools in the area. And if you got picked as the high school teacher of the year, you had to go give a speech. And I thought, do I have a speech prepared? Should I prepare a speech? And I thought, no, I don't want, no, I don't know, because the thought of preparing a speech, no, I didn't want to. And I thought there's not a chance in heck that I'm going to be picked. Well, I go to this banquet and they call my name as the high school teacher of the year. So here I have to go stand up in front of 1,000 people and give a speech. And I'll be damned if I headed up there and the first thing that I said was, well, I said, holy but I said, I don't have a speech prepared because I didn't think that I'd be standing up here tonight. And the other reason that I don't have a speech prepared is because I have a stutter. And I always feel that if I have something that I feel that I have to say, that I'm forced to say from a script, I struggle harder on that, because if I'm holding
Yeah.
if I'm going to hold a piece of paper, and if I am saying these are the things that I have to say, I have a harder time. So I was up there for 6.5 minutes, and I spoke from the heart. And I spoke about having a stutter. And I was the one who in high school, I hid in a bathroom stall for a period because I didn't want to give a speech in Spanish class, and I kind of talked about how I got help in high school from my teachers, from my coaches, from friends, and the greatest thing that I got from my teachers, coaches, friends was hope. And that's why I got into teaching and coaching, was so I could give others hope because of who I was. And that's why I got into coaching, because as I say, I coach life through the greatest game on earth. And so if so I haven't had the thought of hiding who I am, because if I can be an example for others, there's no higher high than doing that. So so Alex, to you, dude. I mean, hey, be totally proud of being a basketball coach, be proud of being an AD. That's a hard job. That is a hard job. And I understand that there are going to be some situations where you feel pressured. Be proud of all that, man, because that's earned. I mean, not everybody can be a coach, be an AD, be a teacher. I mean, be proud of it.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate that.
Wow. Awesome. Judith has a question.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
My name is Judith Eckhart. I'm talking to you from Tucson, but Derek, I'm from the Chicago area.
Very cool.
And I'm sitting here just being thrilled. What I'm thrilled about is I'm hearing you people talk about advertising your stuttering, talking about it, advertising your stuttering. That is the best thing that you can do to obtain fluency. The other idea that I have sitting here, I'm going to even push you a little bit further besides advertising. When you know you have a tough word coming up, or when you just feel like doing it, get into voluntary stuttering. Like, for example, my name is Judith Eckhart. And if you get into voluntary stuttering, guess what happens? You don't have hard stuttering. So I'm just sitting here being so very impressed. When I first came from Illinois to Arizona as a snowbird 20 years ago, 20 years ago, I landed right in the middle of fluency shaping country. And your success was measured with a fluency count on how many times you stuttered. Well, you can about imagine how well I did here. So gradually they got used to me, and I developed a relationship with the U of A. But I just encourage you so much to advertise your stuttering. Tell everybody you stutter, and use voluntary stuttering. I still do it. I do it all the time. I'm not a coach, and I'll be honest that I'm a retired fluency specialist. But I'm just sitting here being thrilled, absolutely thrilled. And guess what? They got used to it. The people out here in Arizona, and nobody's doing fluency counts anymore.
Good.
Anyways,
No.
thank you. I'm just enjoying this immensely.
Oh, good.
No, I I was extremely fortunate that both of my parents were extremely supportive of anything that I wanted to do. Um, at the end of the day, I truly believe in sharing a story because you don't have a clue who it's going to have a impact on. Um, that's why I am extremely fortunate that I'm in special ed. I get to be around students every day who have so much on their own plate. So if there's a day where I start to feel sorry for myself, and I have those days, there are some days where I struggle and, I start to feel, man, why me? But man, it is quick that I go to school and I'm like, okay, I'm exactly in the spot that I'm supposed to be because I get to help. I get to help others with who I am. And that's why I tell my students on the first day of school, I stutter. And some days I'm going to be up here teaching math. I'm going to be fine. Some days I'm going to be, I'm going to struggle. I'm going to have stutters. I'm going to have blocks. And it's crazy how much students open up then. They open up because they understand. And the same thing is in coaching. They open up to you, they trust you because, again, like you're not talking at them, you're talking to them. So,
Yeah. I'd just like to add just a brief experience piece. I worked in a high school for 12 years. It was my job before the one I have now. And I too, Derek, kind of had the same experience. Like when I would, stutter openly, like the students seemed to like really respect the fact that there was an adult, being authentic and vulnerable, because it kind of invited them to do the same, about whatever ever their issue is or was. But I remember part of my job, and I could never figure out why, but I was the one selected to lead the National Technical Honor Society induction ceremony at the awards assembly. And I'm like, oh my God, like we have this whole school of staff. Why are you asking me to be the one? And so one of the things that we had to do was like the students had to take a pledge, I pledge service, leadership, excellence, whatever, whatever it was. And I would read like the first line and then have the students repeat after me, the line so that they didn't have to like memorize it or and anything. And being up on the stage in front of all these parents and all the teachers and the principals and everything, I was like so nervous. But I also was very aware of like the most important thing that those parents are there for is to hear their kid's name being called and their kid going up to get an award. So when it came time to do the pledge, I really wanted people to know that I wasn't stumbling over their kid's name. I stutter, but I didn't feel like at an assembly with all these people, like I should say that. So I decided when it came time to do the repeat after me, I said, now just don't repeat the stutters, and it was a moment of humor. It like lightened the mood, and I immediately relaxed, and it was a way for me to like let the audience and the students know that I stutter, but I was okay with it because I was like making a little tiny, attempt at hu- humor, and it worked. I was able to get through it and not feel so tense and anxious about it, but I still had the thoughts like, why didn't you ask the guidance counselor? Why didn't you ask the social studies teacher? Why didn't you ask the ones that are so much more adept at that? But it worked, and that was my little, I'm not even going to call it a trick, just a strategy, and humor goes a long way. It really does.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So just thought I would share
That's
that.
good.
Yeah. So we have about 10 or 12 minutes left. Does anybody else have any questions or an experience that they'd like to share, and as we begin to move towards wind down mode?
Yes. Um, so I have one question for Derek. So Derek, you and a couple others have mentioned how disclosing your stutter a- allows kids that you are talking to and working with to open up. But do you feel like that you get that um, same response from like your colleagues and people who are the same age as you? Even at my my young adult age, I've noticed that that talking to kids you many years younger than me helps them who open up because they see someone older who who stutters, who is confidently talking to them. And but when I have personally talked to people who are either my age or even instructors in college right now, um, I feel like that reaction or that that expression that they get from seeing me stutter is drastically different. And I was just curious if you've experienced the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I mean, growing up in school, starting to get a job, being colleagues, um, there's always going to be those moments where you're talking to a colleague or somebody older and adult, and maybe they just don't understand. Maybe they don't know. I mean, there have been times where I've gone to school and, I start to talk to somebody who I haven't talked to before. And there's definitely times when you don't get the same kind of understanding from people. Um, but in, but I've been a teacher now also 20 school years, and I've kind of just come to the understanding that there's always going to be those people out there, and that's not a bad thing. There are people who are ignorant, and okay, but there's also people out there who they just don't know, and that's okay, because there's going to be a whole lot more people out there who understand and who are patient and open. Um, like you said, there are like I think I get more understanding and more openness from kids because they're kind of at that age and they're they're kind of at that time in their life when they're still pretty impressionable, and they're trying to find people to look up to, people who they can trust. That's what I love about it. But to kind of answer the question, there's always going to be people, especially those who are older, who they don't understand, or they just don't know. That's okay. I think as a stutterer, I think stutterers in general are more patient because we listen more. But I've just become extremely patient, and if somebody gives me a response or reaction, I don't take it to heart. It takes time though. Because starting off, there's always some times where you're gonna take a response, or if somebody reacts in like like what's wrong with him, it's kind of hard not to take it personally to heart, and it hurts. But over time, again, I just go back to just being happy with who I am, and there's going to be more people out there who understand, who are open, and who are going to be on your team. Rob, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, well, a couple things. I think us as stutterers are very, we're very compassionate. I think we're very understanding, as you said. We're also we're humble. It's kept us humble. Jacob, I've got a interesting story. Working in a school here, yes, we are also very resilient, Pam. You are correct. We are. We're warriors. Stutters are some of the most mentally strong people I've ever met. I had an interesting story. Working in a school here, several years ago, I was in a meeting, and my school speech pathologist, I was speaking, and she said in front of a bunch, about 8 or 9, 10 people in the meeting, "Come on, Rob, spit it out." My SLP said it to me. Now, mind you, this is a girl that I hired, for one, and yeah, so that was kind of interesting. I have a principal that's a little tough on me at times. I don't think he means to be, but just some of the stuff that he wants me to do and to say, and which is kind of, one interesting thing about him is he got hearing aids about a year or two ago. And he was telling me about it. He goes, he said, "I just can't hear people sometimes." He goes, "You just don't understand. It's so frustrating." I looked at him, I said, "I don't understand that." I said, "You're the one that's telling me, yeah, just go do this." And like, "PM, I'll stand on the stage and talk." And you're telling me that when you can't hear people, sometimes you're frustrated. Well, try to talk, try to make that phone call to that people. So, yeah, I agree with Derek. I think the adults sometimes are, and it's the old thing, like, "Oh, but did I stutter?" Well, okay, I'm glad you think that's funny. I saw a cartoon a couple months ago, and this guy was punching this guy in the face. He said, "Of course I know what my first name is." Kind of leading back to the whole stutter, because we've all been there. You don't know your name? Yes, I know my name. Okay, but Yeah, so I agree with that. I think it's more of the adults. Yes, and phone calls are, yeah, phone. Do you know what I've learned on phone calls, though, guys? I want to show you another trick with me is try using your speakerphone. You know, if you have to close your office door, use your speakerphone, and even tell them, hey, do you mind if I have you on speaker and I just talk louder? Again, this is just a little tactic that works for me. You know, I mean, you know, so yeah, but you know, the only thing I can say, guys, I'm going to continue to say, don't let it define you. Don't let it hold you back. Don't let it hinder you. And this has taken me a long time to get to this point. And Judith, you're exactly right. I need to start telling people, having been go a little personal, divorced 10 years now and trying to date in this world. I mean, this younger generation, I keep saying, you guys are wimps. You can send a text. You know, try picking up that phone and asking that girl out, and with the Pam, you know, we had that long cord, you know, and you people are standing there, and I mean, these young guys, they're in a group chat, and yeah, anybody can do that. You know, you try, you know, but so yeah, I just anybody that wants to get in a education and do, you know, or a coach. I mean, it's a fantastic field. It's a very rewarding field, and if that's what you want to do, like Mark, you said, if that's what you want to do, but to do it, just
Yeah.
do it. And that's the best advice I can give you. Just because once you get out there and you start doing it, you're it's just gonna you're just gonna get better and better and better, and they're gonna think of you as Coach Mark. Maybe they'll call you Coach T. They're not gonna think of that. You know what I mean? Just go do it. That's all I can say. I can't say that enough. And then you're just gonna be amazed because they don't really care. You know, they just want you to just care about them. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. Oh no. Just to kind of echo that, I know it's about that time, but thank you guys. I mean, for
Yeah.
coming on here tonight. Um, being a teacher, being a coach is all about impact. And I mean, anybody who wants to get into coaching just tries to have a impact on people. And that's the greatest power that I think anybody has. Robb touched on it. Um, I'm honored to have to have the NSA here. I go to school every day. I've got the NSA bracelet
Yeah.
on. It's
Right here.
starting. It's starting to
They
get hard
fade.
to.
They all fade, don't they?
Right, yeah.
I know.
So I honestly have about 3 of them. So
Yeah.
but anytime that I kind of drift off track, I just have to say, hey, if you stutter, nobody's alone. And that is so spot on. So, Pam, thank you.
Mhm.
thank you both. This has
Thank you,
really
guys.
been a wonderful conversation, and I want to just wrap up by sharing. Um, uh, Jessica wrote a comment in the chat. Thank you for sharing your stories. My son is a high school athlete who stutters, and if he had a role model like the coaches here, it would be life-changing for him. I will be sharing your stories with him. And what a wonderful piece of feedback to kind of wind this conversation down with. This was really empowering and inspiring, and thank you both for sharing so authentically And thank you all who attended tonight and, you know, shared your time with us. So thank you.
Thank you guys as well too.
Thank you,
And I
guys.
also included my email. I see Derek did too. If anybody would like to, and if your son would like to reach out to either one of us, that would be great, or with both of us. I kind of want to, I'm retiring here soon. I would like to get into a new career of helping these, you know, kids or people in general. A lot of times we just focus on the kids, but I think I'd like to focus on everybody of just the mental aspect of stuttering and what it does. And I, you know, a lot of times I speak with SLPs. I'm like, I'd like to work alongside you because you might get the physical part, but you don't understand the mental part. Like, you know, when we're all sitting in the class and we have to read a paragraph and, you know, or a sentence, you know, we're sweating. I mean, we've all been there with that. And Derek touched base with it when he first started. I mean, if it wasn't for sports, I probably would have been in fights all the time. But people like to be because we're athletes, and it was just and because you just got, you know, and it's what brought us to the next level. But yeah, thank you guys. Like Derek said, Pam, you know, thank you very much for this. I mean, you know, if Derek wants to, I'd love to do this again sometime. Or I mean, anything. I think it's a
Anytime, Rob.
wonderful thing. Yeah, anytime you guys want to do them, we just,
Anytime.
you know, like I said, I gave him my email. If anybody wants to reach out to us, that'd be awesome. Or if you know somebody too, please, you know, be in contact. Because like I said, I didn't know anybody who stuttered. The people in the movies always portrayed stutterers as people who were, you know, not smart or not out there. Yeah, then I still hate that. But okay, but I know it's running late. But yeah, thank you guys for what you do, and I hope that I mean we had some type of message that we could get out to you. And Judith, I will definitely take your advice. I need to stop being so covert. I know that.